Hi, this is Regeline Sabat, also known as Gigi. You're listening to Walk With Me podcast. My guests today are Chip Baker and Derrick Pearson. They are the authors of The Impact of Influence, Using Your Impact to Create a Life of Influence, that will launch on March 27th of this year, 2021. Welcome to the show, Chip and Derrick.
Hello. Thanks so much for having us, Gigi.
How you doing?
You're welcome. It's an honor to have you here today. Now, let's start off with you, Chip, and then we'll move to Derrick. Can you start off by telling us a little bit more about you?
Sure. So I'm Chip Baker, and I'm just glad to be here. No, I'm a fourth generation educator, blessed and fortunate to be raised by some great people, as well as be around some awesome folks in my life and career. And I have a YouTube channel, podcast, which is the Success Chronicles. And what I do is I just interview people from all walks of life and share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. Multiple time author, a speaker, trainer as well, coach, life coach. Just trying to do all things involved in giving back and making a positive difference in our world.
I love it. Thank you. Derrick?
As Chip says, he's a fourth generation educator. I'm a 30th generation African man trying to find my way. I've done a lot of research and finding out that I belong to everybody and everybody belongs to me. I do sports radio here in Lincoln, Nebraska. I've been here a year. I met Chip when I was in Texas. By the way, I've lived in Charlotte, Salt Lake City, Utah. But home is the DMV, the great district, Northern Virginia. That's my spot. That's where I'm from. That's how I live. So I'm just a traveler on this planet, meeting people, making friends of family, and that's what we do.
Amazing. I love it. Now, today we are going to discuss the book that you all will have launching on March 27th of this year, 2021. Let's talk about it. Talk to us. What inspired you all to write that book?
Well, along my journey, I've been blessed to come across some great people. And, Coach DP is one of those amazing men. And, the idea came to me, you've been around some pretty neat people. You ever thought about doing a compilation book and just putting them all together? And I was like, man, that's a really good idea, right? And so, I reached out to, some of the guys that have, I've come across that have made a positive impact on my life. I just asked them, hey, would you be interested in, talking about, some of the people or experiences that have influenced your life, made an impact on you, what you learned from it, and, how you're using that to make our world a better place. And, we got, it's a total of 17 guys, so 16 other guys, and they were like, hey, let's do it. And so, Coach DP was one of the first. Let's go. It's on, right? And so, here we are, about to drop it. Like you said, March 27th is our launch. We have it out there. It'll be on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and we'll all have it on our social medias, where they can go purchase, pre-order their copies as well. And so, I'm really excited about it. And looking forward to the experience of being together and traveling and touring with the guys and their families, and seeing how proud their families are of them, and the positive impact that it's going to make.
Amazing. Tell us more about the title. How did you all come up with the title of your book?
So, everything that we do in our life, we're influenced by it, right? Whether we know it or not. So, we're the sum total of our environment, our experiences, our relationships, and the actions that we take, right? And those can be good, those can be bad as well. So we learn from all of those. And so it influences us, in our lives, all of those things. And so everyone that's in the book are powerful influencers, not just, a guy, no, every guy in the book is a powerful influencer. And so that's really how, I came up with the title, because I know that, when the world hears their stories, when the world gets to hear these guys talk and speak and read their chapters, they're going to be influenced and impacted in a positive way. And so I'd just like to let, Coach DP kind of tell a little bit about, his story and, his deal, because you need to hear about that.
Amazing. Dr. P, talk to us. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, well, it's my journey. My grandmother used to say that if I lived a life that I could explain very quickly on an elevator, I'm living wrong. I like to say I've lived several lives. I've lived young me. I've lived as the athlete, as the student. I've lived as a single man in America, as a Black man, as a combined man. I lived as a coach and as an educator. I've lived several different ways, and through all of it, some people have tattoos. Other of us carry our stories inside. I don't have tattoos, but if I did, it would be from all the coaches, all the teachers, all the neighborhood moms that looked out for me when my mom was at work, my grandmother who told me stories and gave me faith, all of my friends who bounced me back in line when things got crazy. But as a coach, I'm an accumulation of all the good and bad coaches that ever laid hands on me and put me in space. And it's my job to represent them because we impact people. We all impact people. We have to accept that we should impact them for the good.
I love it. Thank you. And now we have someone else that joined us here. Mr. Me Too, Sylvester, talk to us. Tell us a little bit more about you and where you're from.
How you doing?
Fantastic.
Thank you for having me on the show. And I have to, of course, say thanks to my brother, Chip Baker, for being the connection guy that he is. He's a master connector, man. I've been introduced to so many phenomenal people because of Chip and our relationship. And so I'm thankful for this opportunity to be on the show tonight. My name is Jeermal, Mr. Me Too Sylvester. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, and I currently reside in Indianapolis, Indiana, where I have my own organization called Beauty for Ashes, Inc., where we do character development, etiquette training, mentoring, and also I'm a newly found author, thanks to Chip and being a part of this book.
Let's go.
I didn't think that I would ever be saying that, especially not this soon, but my brother has been pushing me over the last year, and he created this opportunity for me, and I'm so thankful. It's been crazy to have the word author behind my name, and I still have to pinch myself, like it's really true right now. So I'm thankful for this opportunity and looking forward to impacting and influencing people's lives.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Now, Chip, talk to us a little bit more about your vision for this book and what you really want the readers to take away after they read the book.
When you look at vision, I know, like I said, everyone that's involved is powerful, like I said. And I think that, once they hear their stories, read their stories, the readers will be impacted, which will allow them to go out and make an influence in the world. And that's what it's about, spreading that contagious positivity. It becomes infectious and contagious. And every one of these men, and I said this before, I'm probably going to say this a few more times in the interview, every one of these men in the book are amazing. Like I can't say it like every one of them in there, like every time I get to be around them or connect with them or talk with them, like from every instance, I'm impacted in a positive way, like every time, right? And so I just know that the world is going to benefit from hearing the knowledge that will be shared by these men and their stories. And I just like to, like Jeermal, man, I love for him, like Coach DP shared a little bit of his story, but like Jeermal, I love for him to share some of his story so you can just see a little bit of what I'm talking about. Because, hey, let me warn you, when you hear the story, you're going to get a little bit excited. Okay, so now we can go ahead and go.
Please, Jeermal, share with us your story.
So in the book, I've had a well-traveled life, like all of us, but I've been able here in the last few years to learn how to tell my story, And so in my travels from Chicago to Indiana, I fell in love with this rounds thing that normally has Wilson or Spalding on it, called the game of basketball. And it totally impacted and changed my life. I went from someone who was looking up to the gangbangers and the drug dealers in the neighborhood, and being a product of my environment, to quickly shifting that narrative to, while I didn't move from my neighborhood, I just changed who I looked up to. And so I shifted from being a product of my environment to being a product of who I looked up to. And so it went from being the drug dealers and the gangbangers and those people who were in my neighborhood, who I saw every day, who I began to idolize and look up to now it's Dr. J, it's Scottie Pippen, it's Michael Jordan, it's those people. And when I realized that I could do the things that they did, even from where I came from. I grew up without my dad. My dad was in prison. Mom was on drugs. And so grew up in a single parent home. And, everybody has those similar stories. But for me, I took the basketball route and I perfected my craft. And so the time that I would spend on the block, I spent on the court. And it quickly took me, in 2 years, I went from being a nobody to one of the best players in the state of Indiana. All because I shifted my focus and I shifted my attention to, well, they had the commercials back then, like Mike, if I could be like Mike, and I would watch the videotapes and I would watch the games and I would go to the park and practice those moves. And it afforded me some opportunities to travel, to see the world. I ended up getting a scholarship to go to Ball State University, where I had a phenomenal 4 years. But I had some turbulence during those 4 years. And when you don't know what you don't know, those things are typically going to happen. And so I was 27th in the nation in scoring my senior year at Ball State, and I punched my teammate and got kicked off the team. All of us have had dreams, and we've laid in the bed late at night crying, and especially those of us who come from low socioeconomic backgrounds, where we've cried ourselves to sleep like, man, I know what I'm gonna do when I get the opportunity to change my life. And here I had this thing, I had it in my hands. The NBA was a reality for me. And because I grew up in an era where we weren't taught as men to share our feelings or talk about our feelings or what we were going through, that was a sign of weakness. And so I held all of those things in, and they came out at the wrong time. And I ended up having to leave school because not less than 60 days later, I punched somebody else on campus. And so now I'm a menace. And so now I'm scared. I don't know what they're going to do to me. I just punched somebody in December. Here it is, early February. I put my hands on somebody else. And so I did what any young kid would do. I ran and I left without completing my degree. And so those are just some of the things, that transpired. But in that story, I was able to dig deep. To utilize those different experiences. And after 24 years, I got out of my own way and I went back to school and I got my degree after 24 years. And so I was a 3-time college dropout. I went back 2 other times and life kept happening. What I realized is, man, life don't care nothing about your mama not being there, your daddy not being there. Life don't care nothing about you having 4 kids and no job. Life doesn't care. You have to show up and you have to accept responsibility for those things that God has afforded you. And that's what I did. And I stopped making excuses. I was a great excuse maker. And I stopped making excuses and I got out of my own way. And I've been tackling life and I've been accepting those challenges, and I welcome those challenges now because I understand what it means to be resilient. And typically people say the definition of resilience is the ability to bounce back. My definition of resiliency is the ability to bounce forward. Because if I just bounce back, I only bounce back to the thing that knocked me down. And I learned from all of my mistakes, all of my mishaps. And so I want my mistakes to know that, hey, I got what you wanted to give me, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to run with it. And that's it in a nutshell.
Very powerful. Now, we did have a technical issue there, but I'm glad to be back with all of you.
I tried to warn them. I tried. Hey, I told you. Hey, powerful.
Very powerful. Thank you. Thank
you.
Talk to us a little bit more about shifting your thought process in the environment that you were in. You said, I'm not going to let the circumstances define me. Talk to us about that shift.
It all had to do with being great. You know what I mean? All of us, when we set out to do things and we fall in love with things, we don't fall in love with them just to be average or to be so-so. And so I wanted to be great. And I knew that in order for me to be great, I had to make a decision. Am I going to spend 10 hours perfecting my craft, or I'm going to spend 10 hours in the streets, you know what I mean, doing things that I knew I didn't have any business doing? And so it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, because I was sick and tired of sick and tired. And I think that's, you know, when most of us, when we shift our thinking, it's when we come to the place where we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I got tired of, you know, we blame things on our parents. At some point, I had to stop blaming mama and daddy now. I had to take ownership and responsibility for my life. And I was at an age that I could do something about what was going to happen to me next. I can't do anything to what happened to me previously because I was under someone else's care. But I'm 16, 17 years old. I can make those decisions now. And ultimately, it afforded me the opportunity to be able to go to college, because I made my mind up that I'm not going to continue to live like this. You said that if I could be like Mike, I could have some of those things that Mike had. Well, I'm going to call you on that. And I'm going to see that if I become great, or if I perfect my craft, what type of opportunities will arise because of that. And I was able to get a full ride scholarship. A lot of things that, you know, people who come from where I come from, especially from my family, those things weren't afforded to them or to us. And so, you know, I was one of the first in my family. And so I was the standard bearer, you know, so to say. And it was a great thing because after me, I gave my family members and people who were close to me, I gave them a sense of hope that I can do that too.
Absolutely amazing. Now, for the audience that's listening and that's growing up around drugs and alcohol right now, what would you say to the audience, to that individual right now, that they, again, are not their circumstances, but they can choose something different than the drugs or the alcohol?
Man, first you got to find your why. For me, I had to have a why. Once I realized what my why was, who, what, when, where, how, none of those things mattered because I knew why. And so you have to tap into your why, and you have to, you know, and you're going to have to do some soul searching, and you're going to have to shut your phone off. You have to cut the TV off. You're going to have to stay off of Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and all of the other things that are distractors. And you're going to have to spend some time with you and do some deep diving and, you know, just kind of asking yourself, what am I passionate about? What wakes me up in the morning? What, like, for me, working with kids and helping people, I wouldn't care if I didn't get a dime. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that, you know, with my entire might and my whole heart, because I know that that's what I'm supposed to do. It's not a job, it's a calling. And so I think tapping into those things and finding your why will allow you to do that. And then once you find your why, man, stay true to your why. I have days where, you know, I don't always feel good, or I don't always, the cover is heavy, but because I know my why, I get up and I show up and I show out because I know why.
Very powerful. Thank you. Now, Chip, is there anything else that you'd like to add in regards to your book?
Yeah, I just, you know, like I said, I'm just really excited. And I know, just like you heard, like Jeermal, I mean, and it's 16 other amazing men with stories, you know, great stories that they are using, and they all know their why, and they are on fire with what they do. You know, just like he says, you know, just, you know, working with kids and sharing my story with them and teaching them lessons. You know, I would do this if I wouldn't get paid at all. And everybody that's involved is the same way. I mean, we have, you know, educators, principals, superintendent, authors, businessmen, preachers. Most of us are former athletes, you know, high-level competitive athletes. So, you know, within that, you know, there's lots of lessons from that we've learned that we share. Motivational speakers, philanthropists, mentors, and just movement makers. And so I'm just excited to share with the audience, excited for the authors, excited for the opportunities, because I know that, you know, the impact of influence will not just allow us to leave a legacy. It's going to allow us to live a legacy by our day-to-day actions and the impact and the influence that we're making.
Absolutely amazing. Derrick Pearson, Any last words that you'd like to leave with us here?
Chip knows this about me. I do a couple of things that I do pretty consistently and well. One, I offer the gift that you have permission to tell me the truth about anything. And I ask for permission to do the same thing. That allows me to set a GPS for whatever we're going to do next. Second, I do this thing, and Chip knows it, that I walk into a room of the toughest, biggest, most brutish of men, and I take off my glasses, and I find the biggest dude in the room, and I get close, and I say, the smile is undefeated. Never forget that. Yours is too. Yours is too. That smile that you carry, that God blessed you with, is there for a purpose. It is your calling card. It is your greeting card. It is the thing that people remember about you when they forget everything else. And then finally, I have a foundation that's called Love Prince. And Love Prince came to me after I ended up in ICU. I was supposed to be gone. I had a saddle embolism, 27 blood clots in my body, 3 in my chest, 4 in my lungs. I was supposed to be gone. But the universe called for me to do more work. And so I'm still here. And if I don't get through that, then I don't meet Chip. I don't meet Gigi. I'm not here. I don't get through this. So I'm here for a reason. And the reason is this, and it's simple. Love requires action. Action requires love. You can tell me you love something, but you have to show me. And you have to act on it for it to pay you, for it to benefit you. And this other thing in Love Prince is simple, that everybody that I engage with, that I cross paths with, there is no coincidence. See, you were put in front of me because I'm supposed to love on you. I'm supposed to leave you more in love than you were when I found you. And that's all of us. So whatever the next thing you come across, whatever it's a little person, big person, it's a thing, it's an animal, whatever, or a project, whatever you're working on, don't tell me it's important. Show me by loving it enough to put action to it. And then sit back and watch the love you just put into that thing, love other people, because it will.
Wow.
And that's the impact of influence.
Absolutely.
Very powerful.
Dr. Cornel West says, you can't save the people unless you serve the people. And you can't serve the people unless you love the people.
You gotta love them.
I truly believe in that, man. I'm only in the place that I'm in because my mentors, they love me through my mess. I didn't do it all right. And even when I tried to do it all right, I still ended up doing it wrong. And I found that they love me more. And it was confusing to me. I'm like, wait a minute, because I was used to when you do something wrong, they kick you to the curb. You loving me more, you telling me how great I am. And I'm like, what is this? And he told me that excuse this. This may sound nasty, but he told me that he had booger love. He said, you can't get rid of me. I ain't going nowhere. He said every time that he wanted to throw in the towel, he caught it before it hit the ground. And I'm so thankful for Pat Magley for doing that, because I'm only in this work and I only believe that I'm called to do this work and that I could change lives, even with the stuff that I've done, good and bad, that I can impact people's lives because I watched what he did for me. So I know that love thing is true.
Amen. You talk about failure there. Let's talk about that. How important is it for others to understand that it is okay to fail?
The only people that I know who haven't failed haven't done anything. See, I'm human, and I accept all things from that humanity. That means my testimony is not all that I've lived the perfect life. I've gotten where I've gotten because I've got a torn bicep that's recovered. I got pins and screws in my spine from a botched surgery. I've got a filter in my heart. That's why I came up with the phrase, filter your heart, because only good belongs in there. And you get to protect that. And I had to learn that you can't just let everything into your heart and lungs. That's not what it's for. That's not what it's for. So all of my failures in coaching, we say this thing, and it's all too much. Win or learn. And guess what? All of my victories matter only because I remember the lessons. And that's the whole thing. Go ahead and fail, but fail forward. As he said, fail forward. I'll learn and then I'm gonna win.
Very
Wow.
powerful.
And the most successful people are the ones that have failed the most. And, just like, sports analogy, reps make you better. And so when we can learn to embrace the reps, is it going to hurt? Yes. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Is it going to be tough? Yes. But then when we embrace that and know that if I attack that failure, right, on the other side of that is growth. On the other side of me attacking those failures is growth. And I heard somebody say before, seek for those experiences, seek for those opportunities to learn. Just like Coach DP said, it's not winning and losing, it's winning and learning. And so, if your perspective is the right way, you're gonna win every time, right? And then when you win every time, it allows you to, hey, look for more of those challenges to where I can learn. Because when you look for more of those challenges, when you can learn, you know that you can impact and make a positive influence on more people. Come on.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here today, for sharing your story, and for sharing your upcoming book, The Impact of Influence, Using Your Impact to Create a Life of Influence, that will be launching again on March 27th of this year, 2021. Chip, where can the audience grab a copy of your book with the other?
Yes, what I'd like for you to do is, the book we're going to launch it. It'll be on Amazon. It'll be on barnesandnoble.com. But what I'd like for you to do is search, out the authors, show the authors some love. Jeermal, Sylvester, and Mr. Me Too. Chip Baker at Chip Baker TSC. Derrick Pearson, at Derrick Pearson, or the Love Prince. And when you look on our social medias, you'll see our online stores. And so if you'd like to get autographed copies, I'd encourage you to do those and just, go out and show the guys some love. And like when we started, I was just telling you, every author is truly powerful and they've impacted my life. And so I just ask that you can just go out and show them some love, each of the authors, or follow them. And then again, I just want to say thanks so much, Gigi, for giving us the opportunity to be on and share our book. Truly appreciate what you do and how you do what you do. We're grateful for the opportunity.
You're welcome. It's an honor to have you guys here today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for those that are listening, follow Chip, Jeermal, and Derrick, and all of the other authors of this amazing book on all of their social media handles to pre-order your copies. And guys, again, thank you and have a blessed day.
Go get it.
Let's go.
Go get it.